Hey everybody, David Crum here, attorney and CEO at US Legal Groups and Cardinal Concepts Marketing Agency. In line with our newsletter this week, my team came to me and they asked me, Dave, what are some of the characteristics that our most successful law firms have in common so that we can share it with our audience? Now, it's a great question, and I spent quite a while thinking about it and kind of looking at the data to see what the answer might be. Well, after looking at it, I came up with 4 distinct things that I can identify that successful practices do on a consistent basis. And I want to share that with you today. First thing that we've identified that law firms do on a consistent basis that leads to their success is something I call their ability to work on their business and not in the business. And here's the distinction, and it applies mostly to managing attorneys and owners of law practices. Many attorneys get caught up in the idea of working their cases, billing time, and they're right in the mix, right down, in the front lines doing casework. You have to find a way to pull yourself back from that so that you can work on the actual operations of your business, how your business functions, how you handle marketing leads, for example, and how you just execute overall. If you don't do that, you will continue to remain a technician in your own law firm, which means that you've just created a high-paying job for yourself. You're not really an entrepreneur. If you haven't read the book, E-Myth by Michael Gerber, this is exactly what he talks about. The E-Myth stands for entrepreneurial myth. These are people that own businesses but work just like an employee. So the ability to back away from that, whether you're reducing your caseload to 50%, 25%, or all the way down to 0, which I did 10 years ago in order to do what I'm doing now, it will do wonders for just the operations and expansion of your overall law firm. Number 2 is sales process. Now, there are firms that there's 2 competing ways that people try to do sales in law firms, consumer law firms. One is the firm will take a phone call, and on that phone call, they will try to sell the caller into services right there on the phone. That is not the preferred way to do it. There's another camp of people, which is what all of our law firms do, that follow this process. We get a lead. The lead is quickly screened, and this would be in less than 5 minutes from our front desk team. That person is then passed back to either a legal assistant or a paralegal who then takes them through an intake and closes them on a paid consult right there, runs the credit card, sets the appointment for the attorney. Then the attorney has the ability to meet with that person and close them into a paying client. Now, the reason the second one works better than the first is a simple sales process, or a simple sales concept, I should say, that's just called price out of context. Trying to book someone as a client over the phone would be like selling a car over the phone. No one would ever try to do that because there is no context for the price, the services, anything that's being offered. When you get them in, just like a car salesman wants you to walk into the lot, that's the difference. You now meet the attorney, you see the office, you talk through your case, you understand what you're getting, and it is far better to run your sales process that way. The other thing is it's easier to sell people into a $250, $275, $300 consult than it is a $5,000 or $10,000 retainer. So in the sales process, we do intake, pass back, close, and that again will put you on the road to success. The third item is law firms that have client relationship management, or what we call lead management software. The reason this is so important is that you need an ability to nurture and follow up with your leads. And that includes everybody from just the person who first contacts your firm to somebody who's come in, done a consult, and not hired you. Why is it so important to follow up? Attorneys have the mistaken idea that if they've met with someone who doesn't hire them right away, that person is rejecting them, saying they don't want to hire them. That is absolutely not true. All that is happening when someone doesn't hire you is they're likely pushing the hiring decision down the road. So you need to continue to stay in front of those people. Law firms that have this kind of management or relationship software with email follow-up sequences close a heck of a lot more cases because they stay in front of those clients until they are ready to make a decision. When they're ready to make a decision, you're still there and ready to engage. The last one is that successful law firms have a specific plan for recruitment. This has been one of the hardest things that we've all had to face since the pandemic. I will say it's getting a little easier now to recruit because the labor market is loosening up a bit. But on the other side of that, people are under a lot more stress. So we're seeing turnover where we've never seen turnover. We're having some lawyers leave that normally wouldn't have been the case before the pandemic happened. So a couple things that are important to remember about recruiting. The first is your staff, or I should just say the most important one, is that your staff should always be recruiting, even when you don't need to hire someone. Why? Because when you're ready, then you will have a pool of candidates that you can reach out to rather than putting yourself in an unfavorable position of having someone leave and no ability to handle any new cases. Now, when you have your team recruiting for you, that does another thing. It not only identifies who might be good. So let me back up. What we tell the attorneys is, look for anyone. First of all, we ask, who do you know that you would like to be on this team? And we don't ask whether you think they would leave. That's my job. You just give me the names. So they identify people that might be good on the team, and then I reach out to them using that person as a reference. When I use that person as a reference, 100% of the time I get that email open and I at least get to engage with that person. The other thing that you're accomplishing that way is that you are also understanding that that person is a good attorney. So we ask our attorneys, who are people that you've worked with that you think would be good for the team? Now we know that this person is a fun or at least okay person to have a case with. We know that they're competent. We know what their work product looks like, and that takes a lot of the other guesswork out of it. And then finally, if you cannot find people inside of your field, say like we're in the divorce and family law field, in some of our smaller markets, there's just not a whole lot of talent to hire. So now what we're doing is looking for people that are in practice areas that are complementary to what we do. So for our firm specifically, we find public defenders to be one of the most effective hires, just because they do a lot of things that are similar to what we do in family law. They have difficult cases, they have difficult clients to manage, they have large caseloads, and we found that transition to work very well. Prosecutors are also another good hire just because they have courtroom experience. I don't like them as much as I like public defenders as hires, cross-lateral hires, I guess I should say. And then the final one is something like insurance defense attorneys. These are people who are typically underpaid, also carry high caseloads, and know their way around typically around a courtroom, or certainly around the legal process in the court system. And they're much easier to hire. They're much easier to train than somebody that just has different experience and no family law experience. So I think those four things really summarize what we're seeing successful law firms do. Now, if you hire our company, for example, our marketing agency, because we manage our own law firms, we have 36 attorneys on our own teams, these are all things that kind of come with our marketing services. And that's what's really differentiated our marketing agency. We know how to integrate marketing into an actual law practice and how to do it successfully. So hopefully you get something out of our newsletter and this video this week. And if you'd like to work with us or you have any questions about this, just reach out to us and we would love to talk to you.